So, hello and welcome to what I thought was going to be probably a short episode in this series of exploring Azeroth. And then I remembered the zone that I was doing. And no, this is not going to be a short one. In fact, this might end up being kind of a two-parter. I'm going to give the first part of it to Onyx. She's going to take us through Hillsbrad Foothills as it exists in World of Warcraft currently. And then next week, we're going to do a little bit of timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly stuff, and we are going to go back in time with Beryl, who can't even go in her own skin. She's going to have to go disguised as a human. And we're going to go back in time and see Hillsbrad Foothills as it was before, well, before the fall of Lordaeron, before the Forsaken took it over and all of that. But with all of that being said and done, let's just go ahead and jump in. So as you can see, we are back with Onyx, and she is heading towards the entryway to Hillsbrad Foothills, which was one of the sites of the biggest battlegrounds in early World of Warcraft. And from what I understand during Classic, that's all this was just a giant PvP area. There's a lot of history in this, so I'm going to do a real quick overview, and then what we'll do is do each little section on its own, because there's so much in this zone. Like, it's got to be in my top 10 of favorite zones just to run around in, because it's so cool. In the southwestern corner, it used to actually be a part of the Gilnean Kingdom before the Greymane Wall was built. Central Hillsbrad was part of Lordaeron. The northern part of the region is the Alterac Mountains, where there's the ruins of the city of Alterac, claimed by ogres now. And this is where the city of Dalaran used to be before it was wrenched out of the ground and taken to Northrend, and then taken to wherever it is for the Legion expansion. So there is just so much here. And it also has a few little secret areas that I'm sure most of you know about, but you might not. So, you know what? To get us into it, though, the first thing we are actually going to do is we're going to do my very favorite quest in World of Warcraft. Welcome to the machine. And I'm going to babble like an idiot because, of course, I didn't get close enough to the pause button. Hold on. We will go do this quest and then get back into more of it. I also probably should have said that the Hillsbrad Foothills and its questing zones are pretty much Horde side only. Unfortunately, because there are some really fun quests in this zone. But you know, the Alliance has its own sets of fun quests and things like that. But all of the quests in this zone have their own distinct Horde flavor as well. So as a new Horde player, this is usually, if you're following the usual questing path from the old days, this would be somewhere between your second and third zone that you were in. I think it was like a level like 15 to 25 zone. I could be wrong on that. Correct me in the comments if I am. But it was always a lot of fun. You would come here straight from Silver Pine Forest. You just did all of those great quests, and your very first quest is Welcome to the Machine, which is given to you by High Executor Darthea.
Speak quickly.
I can't speak tonight either, so maybe I'm partially Forsaken. And the High Executor says, "Come in here, dear girl. Have a cigar. You're gonna go far and fly high as a ranking officer of the Forsaken. Yes, indeed, this is the good life, and you are going to live it. I want you to take these orders and dispense them to the lowly scrubs that come along looking for work. Who you give what to is wholly at your discretion. When you're ready, mount up on my trusty skeletal steed. So, they don't miss you, and start living the life. Which basically means just stand there and wait.
Beware the living.
Let's get on the skeletal steed and see what happens. Stand tall and proud. Don't let these scrubs give you trouble. Show them who's boss. I see one coming now. Looks like a real winner. Keep it cool, Onyx. Keep it cool. And he's saying, hi, help! And by the way, his name is Dumbass. Hi, help! Gotta do my own voices for him. Hi, I'm new. Big white light creature with wings made me alive. I serve the Banshee Queen. Yay! Help! Hi. And you are told to tell him, maybe you should go take a nap or something. I don't know if I have any work for you. Okay, thanks. I'll just wait here with you. Thanks, okay. Wait a minute. Looks like something just came up. Yep, right here on this sheet of paper. You need to head southeast to the Azure lode mine and report to Captain Keaton. Southeast is that way. And off he goes. North! Got it! Thanks! Okay, bye! And there was our quest for Dumbass. The lady says, these new Forsaken tend to be a little stupid. Oh great, not this one again. I know this orc. He's got no business being here, but since he's a bottom feeder, he likes to hang around and prey on the helpless. Don't let him bully you. Kingslayer Orcus. Ha! Looks like you're running out of idiots to put up on top of this horse, Darthea. This is the puniest yet. What have you got for me today, weakling? Point me to where the Alliance hide, and I shall dominate them. I love this. I've seen the fall of the Lich King. Creations of the Titans have fallen before my mighty axe. When called upon, I alone spearheaded victory for the Argent Crusade against the beasts of Northrend. Now, I come for the ultimate challenge. What does Hillsbrad Foothills offer to Kingslayer Orcus? Apparently there's some trouble at South Shore? Something about Worgen? Maybe you could go and help them? Is what we say. Insurgents, you say? Is there any risk of death or dismemberment to me? No. Then Orcus will do it. Yes. Right, thanks. Just, go head southeast. More south than east. Probably off the coast. Yes, cowardly quest giver. Sit atop your pale horse. Haha. And here's to hoping he never returns. And the last one. Ah, crap. You're on your own with this one, Onyx. And here we have our last quester, who approaches us. His name is Johnny Awesome, and he says, Johnny Awesome has arrived, Philistine. Present me with your menial tasks, so that I may complete them with only mild enthusiasm, and most likely a complete disregard for any decisions or directions that you provide that are more complicated than what my map is able to display. Look at me, peasant. Heirlooms cover my body from head to toe, gifted to me by the greatest heroes that Azeroth has ever known. Now look at yourself. Quickly, back at me. Yes, my horse is made of stars. What pointless series of tasks befitting a mentally deficient orc have you prepared for me? Well, we're having problems at the Sludge Fields. It's located northeast of here. Warden Stillwater could use your help. Fine, fine. What else? That's all. That's all. One quest. Surely you jest. Are there not bear asses to collect? Perhaps a rare flower that I could pick, from which you would make some mildly hallucinogenic tonic, which you will then drink, resulting in visions of a great apocalypse. Perhaps the local populace of mildly annoying, ill-tempered gophers are acting up and need to be brought to justice? Nothing? No? That's it, Johnny. Take it or leave it. I will do this one thing that you ask of me, quest giver. Pray I find more menial tasks to accomplish, or you will be hearing from me again, and I assure you that my comments on the forums of public opinion will be most unkind. And as usual, following that, you just turn in the quests. But what makes these so much fun
What now?
is you actually will see all three of those guys again in the areas that you sent them to, and you have to help them out. Orcus, the Kingslayer, has kind of a sad story. It's a good story, but it's kind of sad. Johnny Awesome has the funniest quest chain that's attached to him, and he does show up in later expansions as, well, I'll show you when we get to him, and hopefully I'll remember to remind everyone where we first met him. And Dumbass, well, Dumbass is a dumbass. I mean, it's all in his name. But from there, we aren't going to do any more of the questing in Hillsbrad. We are going to do some exploring. Right, we are going to mount up and head down to our first little point of interest, which isn't like too huge, but not like tiny either. And that is the Azure Lode Mine. It used to be controlled by the Alliance, but the Horde and the Undead have turned it into a spider breeding place. And you have a bunch of quests down here, basically feeding your spiders. And you have to take all of these Hillsbrad sentries who have been wrapped up and fight them, get them weak, feed them to the spiders. You feed some murlocs to your spiders, and later on you go out to this island out here and do some quests with Kingslayer Orcus and his wonderful, wonderful dragon. Can't remember the dragon's name right now, but you do a lot out here at Purgnation Isle, which is a little bit overrun with Organ, which I need to come here sometime with Beryl and see if these Worgen are unfriendly to Alliance side players. That's something I don't really know if they are or not. But yeah, it's just a whole lot of everything down here. But I figured it was something good to show. Right, now we are going to head on over to the ruins of South Shore, which was once an Alliance town, and a lot of fierce battles were fought here. Next week, when we go back in time, I will show you South Shore as it used to be, which is pretty cool, but it's still, you know, an interesting little town, even if it is a little bit overrun with slimes and Forsaken and all sorts of exciting things like that. I do love the scenery here in the Hillsbrad Foothills. It's honestly very pretty, and the Forsaken have not completely plagued it out yet. They're working on it, as you can tell by the glowing green slime that's everywhere. But we will poke around here, look in some of these buildings so that you can compare and contrast them to what you'll see next week. You got your basic ruined towers, bunch of ruined houses. I can't remember if we actually go into all of them or just some of them. But it's definitely got its issues, and a lot of quest lines. Oh, and Kasha. Kasha is Orcus's dragon's name. Yeah, you've got your nice little inn here. I don't remember if there is anything left. No, completely unfurnished these days. And a little bit trashed, but you know, the rats like. So yeah, I mean it's your basic little building, but it's fun to look at it as it is right now compared to what it was, which I will show you next week. Also, there is Kingslayer Orcus. He is down there in desperate need of help. It is a hilarious quest, but we're not really doing questing today. I just wanted you to see the Welcome to the Machine quest because I find it hilarious. Alright, continuing along the southern shore here. Oh, one other thing that you might not know, although you might, is you have a chance killing anything in this zone of getting one of the rarest battle pets in the game. I mean, probably not the rarest, but one of the rarest that you can just get. And that is the black tabby cat. It's a rare drop in a couple different zones. This is one of them, but I think it's got like a 0.1% chance of dropping. So, something to keep in mind if you get it. I mean, if I ever get it, I'm just keeping it. But I know it does sell for a lot of gold on the auction house. Unfortunately, I've never actually gotten it. I have spent so much time killing everything in sight and still never gotten it. One of the best places to farm for it is at this little abandoned farm right here. Mostly because everything on this farm respawns at an incredibly high rate of speed. But we're just going to keep on going out towards Durnhold Keep, and I will give you a little history on Durnhold Keep. Actually, before we get to Durnhold Keep, let's go and explore a little bit over here in Dungarok. Now, Dungarok was originally a stronghold of the dwarves, and the Forsaken hated the dwarves, and they basically outnumbered the dwarves about 10 to 1, and they wiped them all out. Every last one of them. One of them remains as a ghost, and he tasks the Horde adventurers to release his people's spirits. He is this Captain Ironhill. And you can give them a hand, you can release their spirits, but they are the unquiet dead. You can see their corpses littering the battlefield to this day. If you go a little bit towards the coast, you'll see there's a Naga settlement down here. And one other thing, which I think is really, really cool, and I actually looked up, but let's go over here and approach this grave right here, where a dwarf named Rausch stands. And you go over here and click on it, and it says, "In loving memory of Anthony Ray Stark, 1961 to 2005. Now, this Anthony Ray Stark was actually, I was curious, so I looked it up, and what it was this was a man who went by the name of Tony Stark. That was his real name, who one of the Blizzard developers met and hung out with. They didn't get to know each other really, really well, but they liked each other. And they met at a cigar store Tuesday nights to play WoW with a group of people. Some of the people worked for Blizzard and were friends of Tony Stark's. Rausch, this dwarf right here, was Tony's main, and when Tony died in his mid-40s, level-wise, they put the memorial in here, and and he died scuba diving. And yeah, it's one of several in-game memorials, and I think it's incredibly sweet that they're in the game. So, R.I.P. Anthony Ray Stark. Roush will be here forever to remember you. Alright, now let's move on towards Durnhold Keep, leaving Tony Stark and his memorial over there. And we're heading to Durnhold Keep, which was a internment camp. World of Warcraft has a very dark history. An internment camp for orcs. It is where the future Horde leader Thrall was held and basically used as a pit fighter. In the current World of Warcraft, it's yet another questing area where you fight a bunch of ghosts, and I don't remember everything in the quest chain, but we'll hop down and look at this. Again, it'll look quite different next week when we go back in time. But you have the internment camp. This down here is where the orcs were kept, and then up above was the keep itself, which is now just in ruins. Another really cool thing that a lot of people, I mean, I'm surprised at how many people don't know that this is here, but we will go see. Actually, what is this? Ah, just a random thing. This is actually how I find so many of my things, is just flying around going, and what is that? But if you go over here, and you can kind of see it on the map, this little dash. Little dashes. There's a little something in the hill. And a lot of World of Warcraft players from, I guess you would call it, the old days know about this. But I find that a lot of the newer players, or just people who are not obsessed with exploring, don't know about Ravenholt Manor. So you can follow this path, or you can just fly in, which is what most people do nowadays. You go through this spiffy little cave, and you approach Ravenholt Manor, which is where all of the Assassin's League and spies hang out. It's a really neat place if you are a rogue, which Beryl is. You probably do know about this place because this is where you have some quests and things that you can do. But yeah, it is just a really, really cool little manor. You can sit down, take a load off, go talk to the wolf, who has quests for everybody. You can go downstairs. A little bit creepy. Exactly what that is. It looks like something hatched down here. But it's a really neat little place that I find a lot of people don't know about, especially if they're not a rogue.
Here there.
Now he'll sell you a dagger.
Hey,
I
good.
think upstairs there is a vendor that sells a really, really cool item, if I can find them. This is just all Assassin's League. But there's a vendor that sells, it's a special kind of tea that used to be really good for PvP players. PvP. And you can also go to this guy who is the specialty engineer. He has a few schematics that you might need if you are an engineer. And it must have been, I think it was him that had the thistle tea recipe for Beryl, which is really cool. It gives you a giant boost, but it also, when it wears off, kind of hurts you a little bit. But yeah, if you did not know about this place, it's pretty darn awesome. It's just your own little secret hideaway, your own little manor. And it's not actually marked on any of the maps. If you look, there's nothing that says Ravenholt Manor. It's not even really kind of there, but it's there. Alright, our next place that we are headed is going to be Tarn Mill. Now, there isn't much to say about Tarn Mill. It's a fairly typical Forsaken area, typical Forsaken town. It's got your basic inn, all of those things. But what makes it more interesting, again, is when you go and see it in the past. I feel like I say that a whole lot, but it is very, very true. The old Hillsbrad Foothills area that is in a dungeon instance is absolutely fascinating. But, you know, we'll run around here really quick. It's old burned out farms. You've got a few different vendors that you can get to. I don't think there's anything unique there, but it's there and it's interesting to look at. Now we are going to go over here to the ruins of Alterac, the Alterac Valley battleground entrance, the uplands, and Stonbrod. So let's go. We will start with the Alterac Valley instance entrance. That was a lot to say, but that's okay. This is if you are into PvP and all of that. This is probably an area that you know very well. I don't know it very well because I am sincerely not into PvP. But if you are, this is where you would come and do that. Or I think you can queue up for it too. Now as we go up into the Alterac Mountains, I don't know a lot about the Kingdom of Alterac. I know it eventually incorporated into Lordaeron, but it was not actually a part of Lordaeron. It had its own kings and everything like that, and now it is just a ruined ghost town that is in the control of, I do believe, humans on this side and ogres on the other side. You also have to be careful because there are mountain yetis that patrol around here. There are a couple of really neat pets that can be found here, and I don't know if there is still a special herb that can be found here, but I know that there used to be. There's also some interesting little caves. You've got Slaughter Hollow. Just a bunch of really cool stuff. And if you wanted to come up here and just do your little snow or ogre hunting thing, you could do that. Now we are going to head down here to the uplands. We're going to head down to the ups. And I am going to take you to one of the coolest farms that I feel like, at least here on Moonguard, most people know about, but they're incredibly awesome. Like, if you want your character to have a farm, since World of Warcraft does not have in-game housing, you can just come and claim your farm right here. Got a lot of watermelons growing. Nifty little arbor going out here. Not too many enemies in the way. And this really cool house, which you can claim. You also have this nice little dock area out here. Got a little apple orchard out behind your house. And this is a proper house. I'm not sure who is supposed to live here other than your character. But you've got a nice little downstairs sitting area, nice dining room. And if you go upstairs, you've got this nice bedroom with room for you and 2 guests. So, if you did not know about this little house, it is, if you look on the map, right at the very edge of the Hillsbrad Foothills, right before you head up into the Western Plaguelands. So yeah, if you didn't know about it, now you do. And you've got a nice little fishing area out here, and if that is not your thing, and you would like a smaller house, no bedroom to it, but hey, It's a nice little summer cottage almost, right on the outskirts of Silver Pine Forest and right across from Fenris Keep. You've got this little place with your own little boat and a bunch of giant turtles. No bed, but like I said, it's doesn't really need one. You've got a really nice little cottage right here. And it's very close to the Dalron crater. Now, Dalron was a human, well, I don't think it was only human, but it was the mage city. And around the Wrath of the Lich King time, they wrenched the entire city out and they moved it to Northrend. And then after that, like I said, it ended up in the Legion zones. And that is, I think, where it is to this day. Don't quote me on that, though. But you can go around and see the outskirts of Dalron here. And then where they actually pulled the city itself out of the ground is right there. Which is kind of neat. And it is also kind of interesting because you can see when you come to Dalron, because it's a floating city now, you can see basically the outline of where it was wrenched out of the ground, which is pretty darn cool. There's also a few rares that you can kill, and if you're at level, they probably drop some pretty good gear. Also, just outside of the Dalron crater is one of the neatest little quests that was added in. It's the homage to the Plants vs. Zombies game, because that's basically what you're going to be doing if you go here. And you follow this guy's quest chain, and you're going to be doing a lot of Plants vs. Zombies. But when you finish it all, you end up with this little guy. Let me summon him. We will watch him for a minute. He really, really is. Sometimes you have to wait a minute or two, but he'll start. I'm afraid to pause the video because if I pause the video, he'll start without me even doing anything. He just sings randomly as you take him around. He's also a battle pet, so you can actually battle with him. Alright, a couple more things to look at, and that is up here you have where the dwarves are still fighting the Forsaken. They are trying their darndest to get back in control of this zone, but it's not going really well. If you're on the Horde side, you're going to have some questing up here, taking out these dwarves. They're from the Stormpike faction. And our final little area before I bid you all adieu for the night. See, actually, this took a lot less time than I thought it was going to. Next week might take longer. I don't know. It's hard to say. I feel like I could probably go for hours looking around and poking in these areas, which is kind of what I do when it's just me. But I also don't want to bore you guys for too long. But we're going to go in and see the Sludge Fields, because this is where our character Johnny Awesome, who we gave our quest to, ended up. And he is actually over in this little building over here. You can see it. And he has some issues because the Warden Stillwater is enamored of him. Not all that fond of it. But the interesting part is we're going to land over here in this field. It's a little bit dark. It's a little bit disturbing. And yes, those are screams.
Sunflower.
The sunflower thing was a little off. But basically, one of the quests that you end up having to do is you take this shovel right here, And what the Forsaken have done is they have planted a bunch of humans in these fields. If you're on the quest, you can see their hands reaching up. And you can either help them, or you can use that shovel and bash them on the head and prune them. It's a little dark. It's a little disturbing. These risen Hillsbrad farmers are eradicating the human weeds in the field, but you can be nice. You can actually choose to pull them out and help them. But if you don't use the shovel to bash them in the head, then you don't get the shovel as your quest reward. So, yeah, I think that is probably where we're going to leave it today, with the screams of the poor farmers in our ears. And the land over here, this is the Warden Stillwater. He's under the mistaken implication that Johnny Awesome is actually Jenny, and he wants you to rescue her because she's a beautiful fair maiden. It's a little insensitive nowadays, but it's an older quest chain. So yeah, we are going to go back over here, land at the South Point Gate, where we began, and I am going to bid you a fond farewell. Next week, what we're going to do is Beryl is going to take us through Old South Shore and Old Hillsbrad, and see all of this that we saw today as it was in the past. Until then, though, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later.